Hello and welcome to the Bluff for another West Coast Conference matchup inside the Child Center as the Portland Pilots host the San Francisco Dons. Both of these teams trying to climb up the conference standings with a win today. I'm Brian Slyke. I'm joined by my partner and former pilot, Carly Dumana, and we'll have your call this afternoon. The Pilots lost a heartbreaker in 5 2 nights ago against Santa Clara. Meanwhile, the Dons, they were swept by Gonzaga in Spokane on Thursday. So Carly, both these teams, they're young, picking up experience. What are you looking for in today's contest?
Well, I think both teams are going to be very hungry for a win. Like you said, they've had a tough start at conference, and I know everybody's had that feeling at some point. But what I'm really hoping to see is the Pilots have that same defense that they had on Thursday night and maybe just cut down on a few of those little errors. But I want to see a nice competitive match here.
Well, San Francisco has struggled, but they rely on their setter, Eileen Ashub, to lead their team.
Yes, so she leads the team in aces and obviously assists because she's our main setter, but she's also second in digs. So one other really cool thing about her is that she has been named honorable mention during the spring season and is the first setter in the program's history to earn an all-conference award. So she's definitely going to be somebody that they really rely on in this match.
High praise on the Dons side of the net. Meanwhile, the Pilots, they're looking to snatch a win, and they're going to be relying on their setter, who they've been doing that all season. It's Nolani Helm.
Yes, so like you said, she sets and hits for the Pilots, and she's got 78 kills and obviously 267 assists and 90 digs. And she just really has a hand in everything and just an all-around leader for the team. And so, again, the Pilots are going to rely on her to help lead her team to a win today.
Yeah, the Pilots are trying to pick up their second conference win here at the Child Center against the Dons. What do they need to do, Carly?
I think, again, they need to make sure they're serving tough to try to keep the Dons out of offensive role. And they need to take care of the ball on serve receive. And that feistiness and staying in those long rallies, I think, will be huge for the Pilots. And I think both teams really, they need to take care of whoever's going to pass the ball better, I believe, is going to be the successful team here.
Well, there are a couple of different rule changes from conference play and the preseason, and mainly it's the challenge rules. In conference play, both teams get 2 challenges. If they get the challenge correct, they get to keep that challenge. If they don't get it right, they lose it. If you go to a 5th set, though, you get the extra challenge. So it's a bit different. We've seen it work out for the Pilots in one hand, and then on Thursday we saw they got both of those wrong.
I know, I swear I must have jinxed it.
All right, we'll be right back with WCC Volleyball on the other side. Welcome back inside the Child Center. WCC Volleyball just around the corner. I'm Brian Slyke, joined by Carly Dumana. And let's get you the starting lineups for the away team for the San Francisco Dons. Starting for them today, it'll be Lauren Peary, Shia Richardson, Bruna Correa, Lana Katakunya, Ursula Staka, Eileen Ashub, and as the libero, Letizia Aquilino. The head coach for the Dons is Diogo Silva, and the assistants are Noah Casaquit and Emily Cook. And there's a look Head coach Silva, tough spot for him to come in this late in the season. The previous head coach retiring just before the season starting. Now let's go over to the starters for your Portland Pilots. Jade Harris will be starting on the outside. Charity Bradley getting the start as well. Gianna Lawson in the middle, joined by Chelsea Harmon. Nolani Helm, our player to watch, along with Alyssa Murioka. Then Grace Zilbert will be the libero for the Pilots in today's contest. And the head coach for the Portland Pilots, second-year coach in Megan Burton. She's trying to lead this program up into the conference standings right now. A bit of a slow start, but this team right now still trying to get a feel for themselves. A lot of young players on both sides.
Yes, and I think we talked about this before the match started, that we've both been on rebuilding teams, right? So that's really, really tough, and it's tough on the morale. But I feel like either way, at the end of this match, there's going to be one very happy team out there.
Pilots are wearing their white uniforms, the libero in black with Portland across the chest. Meanwhile, the Dons in their green and gold, San Francisco on the chest. The green tops and the white numbers. Down ref checking the starting lineups for the Dons. Before we get things going, the Dons will start with the serve. Bruna Correa will start things off. Now they're running a 6-2, similar to what Portland has been doing, running two setters, trying to get the most out of their offense. It's Correa, junior from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Dilbert had the first touch. Harris, a roll shot, middle of the court. Into the block, covered by the Dons. Back row attack by Richardson. Helm now out after the first touch. Harris into the block, kept alive. Richardson again from the back row.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting little swing, because she might have mishit it with her hand a little bit, because it definitely looked like she was going up nice and strong there, but it's just a little off speed and totally threw off Portland's defense there.
Yeah, possibly a bit more in front of her than she was anticipating.
Yes.
Correa sends this one into the net. Gianna Lawson back to serve. Sophomore from Tucson, Arizona. Didn't play in their last match on Thursday against Santa Clara. Nevaeh Bray got the start. Now Lawson back into the starting lineup. Murioka on the pass, out to Charity Bradley, off the block, the tool and the kill. Bradley's been doing some really nice things for this Pilots club lately. You know, we noticed the last couple of matches that the back row struggling, and Coach Burton putting Bradley in the back row, and it's sort of changed the momentum of some things as Richardson deep on this attack.
Yeah, sometimes just a little switch can change the dynamic on the court, and that's what she's brought to the team. It's been great.
Charity Bradley is the daughter of Sean Bradley, former BYU Cougar and NBA player. Ashub, good job keeping that ball alive. Set to the middle of Harmon. She gets the kill. She's one of the most effective hitters when you can set her the ball. She's hitting at a 308 clip this season.
Yes, Brian, when the setters have had the option to push the middle, Chelsea has been very successful for the Pilots.
Aquilino got out of the way of that one. This one pushed to the outside. Got Acuna will pick up the kill. Got Acuna now back to serve. Freshman from the Ukraine. Correa out, Hannah Kinnison now in for the Dons. Harmon out of the middle again!
Nice. See, that's what I'm talking about. The key of being really well, passing really well in serve receive. Zilbert definitely set up Harmon to get that kill.
And the middle block late from Staka. And there's not much you can do when you're swinging out of the middle and you've got a solo block. 9 times out of 10, you get a kill. And Helm with the solo block on the far side. Charity Bradley now back to serve. Another look. Helm just all alone. And got that deep push over the net.
Yes.
Ashub, the dump in the middle of the court. you're going to have to keep an eye on her.
Yes. The back row defense needs to know where their setter is at all times, because when she's in the front row, you can see she can be very effective.
And that's part of the confusion almost. Usually when you're running a 6-2, you've got your setters in the back row, but Ashub is in the front row right now with 2 attackers. Harris had the block, and the Dons unable to recover. And what I mean by in that 6-2, you usually have your setter in the back row, so you have the option of having 3 hitters up at the net, but with Ashub setting in the front row, only have 2 options. Push to the outside to Richardson.
Right, but at the same point, Brian, she can also attack the ball. She is considered an attacker there. So usually when a setter jumps up and sets the ball, if they're in back row, you know it's going to a hitter, but she could actually dump that over as long as she's not above the net if she's in back row. But in front row, she can do whatever she wants with that ball.
And that's what's making her so effective on the season so far. Emma Sweat with the tip. Zilbert on the dig off the block. Gabby Quach sets it up for Sweat, dug out. Got Acuna with the back row attack move. Mowo, high set, Sweat with the roll shot. Richardson the tip over the block, kept alive. Harmon with a free ball. And the kill by the Dons and Hannah Kinnison.
That was a nice defensive series there, though, by both teams. Oh.
Scrappy play all the way around.
Yes.
Ashub back to serve. Helm had to tip it, and that one goes outside the pin. That'll be a point for the Pilots. They lead 8-5 as Gianna Lawson checking back in. Chelsea Harmon to the bench. Grace Zilbert back to serve. Out of the middle, cutting across the body, Lauren Peary. Shire Richardson back to serve, freshman from League City, Texas. Leads the team in kills, 3rd in digs and blocks on the season. Out of the middle, Lawson almost palms that one down.
Yeah, she definitely got up on that one.
And right now you're seeing the effectiveness from the Pilots, and they've got good passing. They've gotten 3 or 4 kills out of their middle so far.
Yes. When you have to set the ball outside all the time, it makes it very easy for the block to read and set up. And then when you have a substantial block in front of you, it's really hard sometimes to get your kills.
Kinnison swung that one, went outside the pin.
No
10-6 Pilots lead here in set 1. Helm got some help from the tape. Out of the middle. Peary had it. Mumolo got a touch.
Almost.
Ursula Staka now in. Back to serve is Letiza Aquilino. Letizia 5th in the conference in digs this season. Bradley on the serve receive. Out of the middle, it's Lawson a tip. Kinnison had first touch. Back into the middle to Staka, off the block and down. Well, there weren't many people who were allowed to come to the matches last season, but Staka had a big match against the Pilots last season inside the Child Center, and it looks like she's picking up where she left off.
That's a nice swing by Emma. I was talking about how when we get balls that are passed from behind us and trying to hit at that angle to get that ball over, it's a challenging shot, and she did it. She did that quite nicely.
Alyssa Murioka back to serve, the freshman from Honolulu, Hawaii. Back set to Kinnison, the tip. Lawson kept it alive. Bradley with the first touch this time. Outside to Harris, into the block, and she gets it to go down.
On Thursday, she was really successful with that hard, sharp cut around the block, just maybe touching the blocker's inside arm there. Not much the defense can do with that.
Got Acuna into the block, covered by the Dons. And a free ball over. Gilbert with the second touch. Harris coming in, into the block, covered by Lawson. Unable to get the second touch, point to the Dons. 12-9, Pilots holding a 3-point lead as Bruna Correa checks in. She's back to serve. Hannah Kinnison to the bench. Right now, there's 4 freshmen on the court for the Dons. Incredibly young team. Harris swings deep corner, just past the end line. If you're Coach Burton, I know it went out of bounds, but you like the approach that she took right there, because you see on the replay, she missed it by mere inches.
Mm-hmm. Not a bad miss.
Correa, the float serve. Harris on the receiving end, back set to Bradley. Found a seam through the block, Correa on the dig. Got Acuna into the net.
See, that's the angle I'm talking about, where it's cross court from behind and then trying to redirect it another direction. It's really tricky.
Some confusion off the Dons bench. They wanted to get somebody into the match, but whistle already blew, and the dump by Staka. Her second one of the afternoon.
I kind of said this to you before. It's kind of like the battle of the setters today. Like, that was, both setters are very strong, but she was very deceptive there. I definitely didn't read that play.
And that's something the Pilots are going to have to do and realize when Ashub is in the front row. The outside to Harris, late block, covered by Harmon. Back set to Bradley, down the line. Back row attack and the kill from Lana Acuna. Something I'm noticing right now from the Dons is they're not always pushing it out when they're off the net. They're allowing the back row attackers an opportunity. We've seen Richardson get a few throws, or a few swings in, excuse me. As Harmon, another kill out of the middle, getting the touch. Pilots back to a 2-point lead. Push to the outside to Richardson. Touch off the block, kept alive by Murioka. And a double called on Charity Bradley. Gabby Quach will now check in for Bradley. As Ursula Staka back to serve. Post-match so far through set 1. Only 1 point separating these two teams. Zilbert with a dime pass to Quach, to Harmon out of the middle, and that one finds its way in the corner. And that'll send us to a media break. 15-13, Pilots leading the Dons. More WCC volleyball action coming up next. Welcome back inside the Child Center. Brian Slide, Carly Dumanin with the call. 2-point lead right now for the Portland Pilots on their home court. Pilots lost a heartbreaker on Thursday to Santa Clara. They were up 2-0, and unfortunately for them, unable to close it out. A reverse sweep by the Broncos. And a double call on the Dons. That'll give another point to the Pilots. They now lead by 3.
I know, Brian, we talked about how serving is such a big thing for this team. If they can just keep serving tough, but eliminate a few of those service errors, I think that can make a huge difference in this game.
Richardson, the deep tip. Quach out. Helm swings. Middle back. Got Acuna on the dig. And Richardson, a hard swing on the outside, ricocheting off of Harris's forearm. And the kill. Lolo checking in for Harris.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, the setter did a nice job of holding the Pilots' middle blocker there to create a nice scene.
Ashub on the serve, Mumowo on the receiving end of it. Free ball sent over by Helm. Stocka back out to Richardson, into the block, and that one's out of bounds. Kill for the Dons. Now the Dons are a team that have struggled this season. They're 0-15. They've won 6 sets, and they've only won 1 set in their last 5 matches.
It can be very discouraging, and it's hard to battle through all of that loss, but one team's gonna have it happen today.
As the Pilots picking up another kill. Makes 10 on the day so far here in set 1. They're working with a 2-point lead. Richardson swinging right side this time, found a way through the block. Shia Richardson is the lifeblood of this offense right now. We've seen it early and often with back row attacks, and now she's hit on each side of the pins. Nolani Helm will go back to serve. Quach to the bench. Charity Bradley now on the court. Kinnison and Perry in the front row. The deep serve just missing the end line.
Seriously, I was looking closely. It almost dropped right in, but it did look like it was going out. Right at the last second, it looked like it was going in.
Letizia Aquilino back to serve. Freshman from Italy serves this one long. Third service error for the Dons. And right now, that is the difference, as Portland's only up by 2 points. As Alyssa Murioka back to serve, Mumolo to the bench. Stocka, Katakunya, and Kinnison swinging right here. Katakunya on the tip. Harris goes cross. And that one off the court, point for the Dons. And that's tough for her. She was going into the court, and it's hard to go back on the line when your momentum's bringing you away from that spot. Correa back to serve. And miscommunication between Murioka and Helm. Lawson, Bradley, and Harris are swinging in the front row for the Pilots. We're all notched up, 19 all in set 1. Short serve, Zilbert on the pass. High bump pass, Harris with the tip in the middle. Got Acuna saved it. Roll from Richardson into the middle, campfire.
That's her second shot that she's gotten to fall in that area.
Coach Burton calling a timeout. It's 20-19, San Francisco leading the Portland Pilots. And right now, it's mainly been the Pilots in the lead. They've had it for most of this first set, and now the Dons take a 1-point lead late in set 1. Tight race right now. What do you think Pilots should be working on?
Serve receive. I think those last couple swayed points right there has all been about our serve receive. I think that a lot of those balls, now they are very nicely served balls, but they're getting caught up and on the passer, and they're just way past the 10-foot line, and so the only option for the setter is to set it outside, and that's easy for the blocks to set up and create a nice wall that the pilots then have to hit around.
Let's take a look at that last point from the Dons. And Richardson just effective out of that back row, and just what you were talking about right there. Helm way past the 10-foot line. Her only option was to go outside, and then the roll shot middle of the court by Shia Richardson. After the timeout, Correa back to serve. Staka, Katakunya, and Ashub in the front row for the Dons. Bradley, Lawson, and Harris swinging for the Pilots. Zilbert on the pass. To Harris on the outside, into the block, no cover. Second block for San Francisco, and they take a 2-point lead here in set one. Correa's covering line, but with Harris, again, being pushed in on where that set was.
There's not many options you have.
Attacking Harris, Helm, the back set to Bradley. Kept alive by Ashub, and the Dons cannot get to it. The Pilots trailing by one. Gianna Lawson going back to serve. Kinnison checks in, Correa to the bench. Lawson has 3 aces on the season. Did not play on Thursday night's match against Santa Clara. Outside, Katakunya tried to save it herself and sends it out of bounds. Good block on that far side by Chelsea Harmon and Charity Bradley. Another look. Didn't look like it was the most flushed or closed block.
Right.
But they end up.
But both are very strong with their arms and able to press that ball over the net.
So it's 21-all now. The Pilots making a mini run to get back in it. They were just down by 2. It's a timeout called by San Francisco.
Again, I think the key is going to be passing to the setter in front of the 10-foot line so Portland can utilize all 3 hitters versus always having to send the ball outside.
And the important thing that you just talked about, having it in front of the 10-foot line, doesn't necessarily need to be a 3-ball. We've seen both Helm and Gabby Quach get the set to the middle on a 2-ball. Let's take a look at this latest block.
Oh, yeah. There's a big seam, but she just, Chelsea Harmon just reached and pressed over the net to get that ball over.
Sometimes it works out like that for you. We were told not to reach. It always ended in trouble.
Right, that's true.
So out of the timeout, Gianna Lawson back to serve. Charity Bradley has taken on almost a mother hen-like role for this team as a grad transfer and the senior leadership for this team.
Kind of calm under pressure, right?
Exactly. The grad transfer from Washington State. Back set to Staka into the block on the slide. Katakunya, short free ball. Harmon resets, set to the outside to Harris. Roll shot, middle of the court. Back row tap, Richardson. In between the back row defenders of Lawson and Helm. Richardson picking up another kill. That's number 7 on the afternoon.
I would say half of those kills are coming from the back row. She's effective in both areas.
Serafina Rivera checking in. She'll go back to serve. Rivera, a freshman from St. Paul, Minnesota. Checking in for the first time in today's contest. Bradley, deep swing. Kept alive by Rivera. Richardson again off the block. Helm out. Deep roll by Harris. Richardson, another roll shot. Murioka on the dig. Good rally between these two right now. Richardson puts one down. Zilbert can't keep it alive. And right now they just keep feeding her. And timeout called by Portland.
She's definitely in a groove right now.
And it looked like she had a solo block on that one as well, and that usually spells trouble. So 23-21, San Francisco now leading. So Pilots calling timeout, their second one in this match. And right now, you're just wanting to try to side out, get a good pass, and try to set something up offensively and get yourself a serve.
Right. It looks like the hitters, Jade Harris is trying to like mix the ball up a little bit, but I'm seeing there be an opening since their setter or right back is dropping deep, that maybe something a little deeper but right over the block seems to be open instead of that inside tip towards the donut. Their outside hitter seems to be covering that pretty well right now.
Yeah, when you're talking about donut, I call it the campfire. It's all the same thing, the middle of the court.
Yes. The Bermuda Triangle just sucks balls into it usually.
And you know, the Pilots, at least against Santa Clara, it was cross, 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 cross. Not much of those tips in the middle of the court.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wondering if how often they saw that on Thursday. They might still be thinking about it, because that's the second time now that it's dropped right in the middle and no touch from anybody on the Pilot side.
Yeah.
Rivera back to serve out of the timeout. Kept alive. They're going to need to send a free ball over. On the slide, Staka right at home. Charity Bradley got the ball over in play. Richardson off the net, off the block, down for the kill. Let's take a look at how this block was set up. They closed it really well, but Richardson just cut it, and it looked to catch the inside arm of Harmon. Set point. Out of the middle, Harmon drops down, hits the point. You just talked about it. The outside going and covering that one. Right back also covered on that one. Richardson and Kinnison.
But Harmon just placed it just perfectly right up over the block and just out of reach of both hitters that we're covering.
Set point for the Dons. Richardson down the line, out of bounds. So the Pilots staying alive. They only trail by one. And a timeout now called by San Francisco. Right now, San Francisco is trying to pick up their first set win in their last 6 matches now. So right now, they do not want to be giving up this 1-point lead.
For sure.
And this is a team that got swept by Gonzaga on Thursday. Now Gonzaga got swept by Portland at the beginning of conference play. And it just seems like Portland has not really been the same since that first match, where their passing was crisp. They were following balls to the end line, to the sideline.
Letting the other team make the mistakes.
Correct.
Right? Keeping the ball in play until the other team made the mistake. In this match, I just think it's those lulls in their passing that is just kind of deflating them right now. Now, when they come back into this after this timeout, what I want to see is one, get that ball in play for serve. Still want it to be tough, right? We want to put the pressure on them, but it seems like Portland has been more out of system than the Dons in this match so far.
There's Charity Bradley. She had a heck of a match against Santa Clara. 7 kills, 3 aces, 3 blocks, and 9 digs for the grad transfer against the Broncos on Thursday.
Yeah, she had a great game. It was very fun to watch.
After the timeout, Pilots trailing by 1. Kinnison kept it alive. Richardson will swing. Murioka, perfect pass to the outside. Harris, deep cross, out of bounds, and that will end set 1. The Dons take it 25-23. Any thoughts on that first set there, Carly?
Well, as we saw on Thursday, with that close of a match, the next game is anybody's game. And I think the biggest thing is going to be serve, receive, passing for either team, to be honest. And maybe eliminating a few of those hitting errors. Maybe mixing things up a little bit, having a couple of tips down line or little shots, and then bringing it back to some kind of hard cross-court hit. But just bringing down a few of those errors and serve-receive passing for either team is going to make a huge difference.
That's Carly Dumont, and I'm Brian Slegg. We'll be right back with set 2. More WCC volleyball action. What a day here on the Bluff. You got a great look at it right there, campus of the University of Portland, as we welcome you back for set number 2 inside the Child Center between the Pilots and the San Francisco Dons. Starting for set 2 for the Pilots will be Charity Bradley, Chelsea Herman, Jade Harris, Nolani Helm, Alyssa Murioka, Gianna Lawson, and Grace Zilbert will be the libero. Out there for the Dons looks to be Lana Katakunya, Ursula Staka, Hannah Kinnison, Shia Richardson, Letizia Aquilino, and then Eileen Ashub. So 2 similar lineups from what we saw in the first set between these 2 teams, and one that was pretty evenly contested and could have gone either way.
Right.
Gianna Lawson back to serve. And I think if you look back at that first set, you talked about it before we went to the break, it's just the Pilots need to clean up their passing. We're looking at some of the stats right now. Chelsea Harmon is swinging 1,000 right now, 5 attacks, 5 kills, but she's swinging out of the middle, so it all starts there. And there she got a big block.
That's how to set the tone for the next game.
Great job right there by Chelsea Harmon, alone, by the way, going up against Staka. Back set to Kinnison. Tip down the line. Murioka got a pancake. And Helm smartly puts a tip over, flat-footed. Murioka got a hand on it. Lawson chasing it down. Bradley sends the free ball. Outside. Katakunya. She had just enough on it to stay on the Pilots' side. Bradley tried to keep it going. The Dons right now, 18 kills on 44 attacks. They're swinging 250 on the afternoon. Pilots with 12 kills on 33 attacks. Swinging 212 out of the middle. Harmon again. Aquilino on the dig. Harmon another tip. This one to right back to Correa. Kept alive by Zilbert. Staka on the slide, nobody. And right back. Helm was up near the 10-foot line.
And that's what the slide is designed for.
And it was a solo block as well. Harmon went towards the outside. Correa, the junior from Brazil. On the serve, Bradley. Serve receives, swings, and out of bounds.
Those are the type of plays that I'm talking about, Brian, where they are a little bit out of system. That was a great way to bring the ball back, how Helm brought it back in. But in those kinds of plays, they want to keep the ball in instead of trying to make a kill out of that.
Great pass from Bradley. Harmon out of the middle. Tip this time. And a big block on the outside. Bradley and Harmon. Harmon picking up her third block on the afternoon. Cunha just ran into a wall right there. Bradley back to serve. Richardson on the receiving end of it. Cunha again into the block. That one is down. Four blocks now for Chelsea Harmon. She's one away from her block total, which she just picked up on Thursday, which was 5, as this serve goes out of bounds. Gabby Quach checking in. Bradley to the bench. Now serving is Lana Cunha, a freshman from Ukraine. Second on the team in aces, so she's got a strong serve, and Quach could not get to it. It's one where you probably wish you would have yelled for help on that one.
Yes.
Yeah, running across the entire court.
To remind them they don't have to do it by themselves.
Yep, exactly. Off the tape, and Quach can't get to it.
Those are so tough. Back in the day, that wasn't legal when I was playing. You couldn't have the service ball touch the net.
Is that a reserve then? Or does
No,
it just go to the other point or other team?
Yeah, if it touched the net at all, it was a point for the other team.
That one's up. Staka. And a Shub lays one down. Just waiting for the perfect opportunity to pull that one out. And Staka, the set close to the net. Shub, the lefty, putting it down. And a point for the Dons. And now the Pilots trailing by 5. Charity Bradley checking in, Gabby Quach to the bench. Cunha. Again serving, dump by Helm. She's now in the front row setting with Quach to the bench. Zilbert tried to keep it alive, but Richardson coming up with another kill. She's got 10 now, and a timeout called by Portland. They trail by 6, so it looked like it'll be our immediate break. Pilots trailing by 6, 9-3. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Welcome back inside the Child Center. Set number 2. The Dons lead 1-0 after winning 25-23 in set 1. Right now they lead 9-6, and they pick up an ace, make it 10-3 here in set 2. Third ace for the Dons. Pilots still looking for their first ace. Dons are hitting well above their season average. They're hitting 260 up at the net. Harris, the roll shot off the block, kept alive by the libero, and Kinnison with the free ball over. Tip over the block, Kinnison covering. Back row attack. Got Acuna dug out by Zilbert. Harris cross court. Aquilino dug that one out, and Kinnison into the net. Pilots take the point. Emma Sweat will check in. Alyssa Murioka to the bench. Jade Harris back to serve. You look at the errors so far. 10 by the Dons, 6 by the Pilots. Staka on the dig, and a net violation called on the Pilots. Bradley was there to dig it up. Harris will check out. Mumoa checking in. Aquilino to the bench, and Katie Wagstaff now making her first appearance. Portland product went to Grant High School. And out of bounds, Mumoa. Good eye. Grace Zilbert back to serve. Gianna Lawson, the new middle blocker. San Francisco challenging whether that serve hit the end line.
Right, I saw that the one line judge did call it in and the other one called it out. So.
And that's tricky. The line judge on the far side of the court, away from where the camera is, has that line. So it was probably inside that line, but then you look at the line judge on our near side, he's got the back line, and he could have seen that one go out. True. So that's why you have the mix of signals there. But off of my initial look, I thought it was out of bounds. It was very close, though, similar to what we saw with, I believe it was Charity Bradley's serve that just missed. Here's the replay.
Oh.
That's really close. The shadow does touch that line, but it's the ball that has to touch it at any point. Refs didn't see it. Point will go to the Pilots. Zilbert, 17 aces on the season. Leading the team in digs, 5th in the West Coast Conference.
She has a lot of pace to her float serve. I wouldn't want to pass it.
She brings a lot of movement with it. As the down referee still over at the scores table. So through the first set and then some, what have you liked from both sides so far, Carly?
Well, I'd say that when the ball is passed well, there's really good offense coming out of it. And there have been some great hustle plays and digs. But I think another key is going to be, which I'm always thinking defense, because I'm a defensive player. But I think also which team is going to close that block and make it hard for the other opponent's attackers is going to be another key to look for.
Pilots leading in the block category. They've got 5 to just the Dons 2. They've had more success in that category. Unfortunately, their hitting just hasn't been the same. They haven't found the seams, or they're getting touches off the block. And when I say they, I mean the Dons are getting touches off the block. So they're not getting the kill, because the Dons right now are hitting 245. Their season average is 113. They've got 23 kills through a set and a few points. Right now, it looks like a different team than what they've been throughout the rest of the season.
A little bit of confidence could go a long way.
So the challenge was no good for San Francisco. They do lose that one challenge. So they have one challenge left for the remainder of the match, unless they get to set 5. And now we are ready to resume play. Zilbert in the black uniform, back to serve. That's an overpass. And out of bounds, that's an ace for Zilbert. Picking up ace number 18. Off the tape. Wagstaff out in the middle. Bradley got a hand on it. Couldn't tell if she saw a touch off the block. Looked like with how it was cut, it probably would have gone out of bounds.
When it goes that quick, it's really hard to, make that split-second decision.
A Shub serve off the top of the net. Lawson got a hand on it, but too late. Pilots trailing 13-6. Great pass from Mumolo. Lawson hit it off the block. Back set to Kinnison. Off the block and out of bounds. Kill for Kinnison. Lawson, Sweat, and it looks like Bradley's passing in the back row. And out of bounds. So Pilots end the 3-0 run by San Francisco with the service error. Nolani Helm back to serve. Wagstaff and Richardson swinging for San Francisco. Along with Kinnison on the outside. Back set to Richardson, has to bring it back in. Sweat, deep cross, and out of bounds. Aquilino covering the line, ducking out of the way of that one. And good call. Close one to the line, though. Shire Richardson. Mumolo, close pass to the net, and tipped out of the middle. Lawson will pick up the kill. And almost too high for her. Luckily, Lawson's got the hang time.
Yeah, and that was a pretty challenging set by Helm. She was really tight to the net and had to actually turn her body to still set her hitter.
Into the block and out of bounds. Got Acuna will get the kill. Wagstaff will go back to serve now. Coming onto the court was Staka. Wagstaff, no aces on the season. Back set to Bradley. She got a touch off the block, and they're saying it was in. Either way, point Pilots. Chelsea Harmon checking back in. And you see how Bradley almost hit that one directly above her, but she had the flick of the wrist, enough wherewithal to get it back into the court, because you work with those high swings, you usually tend to airmail them.
Yes. And that was, again, a nice set by Helm to push it clear out to the antenna when she was being pulled into the court from that pass.
Bruna Correa back to serve. Overpass. Staka puts it down. Right now, San Francisco is rolling, and Coach Burton calls a timeout to try to stop the bleeding as they trail by 9. An impressive start to set number 2 for San Francisco, for a team that was struggling out of the gate in set 1, made their slow comeback to take set 1, and now they're leading by 9 here in set 2. What have you seen, Carly?
Just communication breakdown in the back row with serve receive, and maybe a couple of like unforced errors with their attacking. When the Dons had an offset, they tend to keep the ball in play, versus when Pilots were going up and swinging maybe from an off pass or something like that, and the setter's having to push it outside. They're stressing to try to hit something hard cross and just barely missing that line a little bit. Maybe if it's not in system, getting the ball in play, trying to keep the ball going, let the Dons make the mistake.
Well, Well, spirits still high for the Pilots. Smiles all around, even on the bench.
Because they know it's not over.
Listen, after what happened on Thursday, even if you fall behind 2-0, you know you can still come back. It is within the realm of possibilities. And it may not seem like it, but this is actually a good litmus test for both these teams with how young they are, how well do these freshmen and sophomores play for you. Charity Bradley, high off the block, Ashub now out. Correa sets it to the outside. Katakunya first touch. And difficult play, the pass from Harris into the net. And two players there for the Pilots unable to dig it out. And that's also one of the more difficult places, how to get the ball up without sending it back into the net when it comes off the net.
You got to get low, try to change that angle, but it's challenging.
And the ace from Correa. 20-9, the Dons are leading. Correa picking up her 7th ace on the season. Deep serve, that one's out. Charity Bradley back to serve. Anna Kinnison checking in, Correa to the bench. Richardson, dime pass, the slide to Staka, and the tool off the block from Harrison Harmon.
One thing I've noticed too is the Dons are doing a really nice job of using the block. So they've gotten a lot of just either reflecting it out of bounds or pushing just barely over Portland's side.
Bradley on the pass, push to the outside, and they are going to call a double, I believe, and that is the call on Nolani Helm. A difficult spot for her. She wasn't completely underneath it and just trying to push it to the pin.
You know, one thing is the Dons usually have some of their big hitters going all the way around, right? And so they're setting a lot of balls in the back row, which UP, on the other hand, has a lot of DS coming in for their hitters, so they don't have that strong attack option in the back row.
Or even it would just make things a tad easier when normally you're only route. Another dump, and that should be a double, and they will call a double.
But hand to Zilbert there. She was there for it.
She was ready for it.
She read it.
After Ashub got the best of the Pilots 2 or 3 times already in today's contest. Jade Harris now back to serve. But as I was saying before that last point, here's a slide on Staka. Out to Sweat, deep, high swing. That one out of bounds. I was close to the end line. Mumolo going to check in. You talked about it. The DS is in the back row where if you're having your setter go past the 10-foot line, normally you're setting outside to the pin, and that's your only option. If you have the back row attack, it allows that option.
Takes a little pressure off your setter, right?
And it doesn't always automatically end in a double block on you sending it to the outside. As a point for the Dons makes it 24-11 here in set number 2. But Don's passing just seems to be on point, and Ashub is doing a good job of mixing up where she's sending that ball. She's fed the middles a lot in today's contest. Helm to Sweat. Off the net, and that one off the tip, and the point for the Pilots. Sweat is one of those players that has had a couple of nice games. She had 11 kills against St. Mary's a couple of weeks ago. Former Washington State Gatorade Player of the Year. Ashub tried to push it to the pin. Richardson, deep tip, kept alive by Mumolo. Tip from Lawson. Richardson got the touch off the block, and that will end set number 2. The Dons take it 25-12. And your thoughts through the first 2 sets so far, Carly?
Well, it looks like that Pilots are getting a little deflated, and they need to just snap out of those mistakes and focus in on the next play.
We'll be back with set number 3 in a few minutes. We'll be right back with some more WCC volleyball action on the other side. Welcome inside the Child Center, set 3, just a couple minutes away. Brian Sly, Carly Dumanin with your call. The Dons are up 2 sets to none. See the scores right there, 25-23 and 25-12. First, let's take a look at some of the stats between these two teams so far. And right now, big discrepancy between the kills for San Francisco and the Pilots. Now, mind you, the Pilots had 12 kills for most of that first set and going into the second set, so not a lot of things going their way, Carly.
Yes, I think that San Francisco's done a nice job of using Portland's block. And so they've gotten a lot of kills. And they're taking care of the ball on serve receive. So their ball control is just stronger, which is then creating a better offense for their team.
Meanwhile, the setters, the battle of the setters between Helm and Ashub. Right now, Ashub has done a great job, both up at the net with a couple of dumps, but also mixing up the attackers for the Dons.
Right, and Ashub does a really nice job of her set choice of who she's setting, but it's also really deceptive at times. It's definitely faking out and holding the middle blocker for the Pilots, and that's creating those holes and those seams, which create much more options for their hitters, which makes them more successful.
Well, you look at the blocks, 5 blocks to 2, and one of the big reasons for that is Chelsea Harmon. She's had a heck of a game so far for the Pilots. She's got 5 kills to go along with 4 blocks. That's Bradley. And there you see Harmon out of the middle. She connected on her first 5 swings, all in that first set.
Yeah, she was definitely the go-to hitter, but the pass has to be there most of the time to be able to force and push the middle.
Yeah, you see how effective she is on those last couple of swings, but it all starts with the passing, and the Pilots didn't really get to that in the second set, and that's why that big discrepancy in the score, 25-12. They just really did not have much going for them in that second set.
Yeah, they just didn't settle in serve receive, and it kind of frazzled. It seemed like they got a little frazzled.
And now we're switching it up for the libero. It'll be Murioka as the libero, Zilbert as the DS. Harris is getting the start. Same with Charity Bradley, Nolani Helm, Gianna Lawson, and Chelsea Harmon. Meanwhile, Correa, Bruna Correa, Richardson, Aquilino, Ashub, Staka, and it looks like number 18, Lana Katakunya. All starting for set number 3. The Dons hitting .317 on the day so far. Their season average is $113. Set out of the middle, Lawson. Did they get a touch? They did get the touch out of the middle. The Pilots pick up that first point, and the Dons now going to challenge it. Staka saying she didn't touch it. Shub also shaking her head no, and the challenge will be made official now.
Well, the nice thing about the challenge is that you have those replays where you can slow it down and really see if the ball is going to make that little change in direction or things like that. So it can be really clear.
Keep in mind, San Francisco already lost their first challenge. I did not see a touch on that initially. It looked like she cut that inside of her hand.
Right.
Or I should say outside towards the sideline.
The ball did have a little bit of a spin on it though. And so I don't know. Maybe
might be able to get a better look here. Normally you might be able to see one of those fingers move on the blocker, but...
Or just you can see the ball change its rotation just a little bit with the colored ball. You can see that a lot better than in a white ball.
Yeah, you and I have talked about that a couple of times.
We always played with a white ball, and so it's just getting used to seeing that colored ball on the sidelines here.
Just a refresher on the challenge rules. In conference play, you get the 2 challenges per match. If you get it right, you get to keep that challenge. Now, San Francisco lost their first challenge. They just won this challenge, so now they still have 1 left over. If they go to a 5th set, they do get another challenge. So with the Dons picking up that point, first point goes to San Francisco, and Bruna Correa now back to serve. Shia Richardson had 10 kills in that first set, and she's still leading everybody else on the court with 11. Harris into the block and down. That'll be a point for the Pilots. And usually when that happens, there's just not enough push up at the net by the defenders, and that's why it falls down on their side. And you see it, not a lot of push right there.
Not a lot of push, or she might have been a little bit on her heels, not as close to the net as she usually is.
Deep serve by Gianna Lawson, excellent float. Katakunya trying to get the tip, but the block by the Pilots. Out of the middle, it's Lawson. Correction, Harmon.
Harmon, yes.
And that's that quick set to the middle that has been effective. We saw it in set 1. You see it again right here. And Harmon wasting no time picking up another kill.
And Dons have no chance to react to that.
The slide to Staka. And that one falls in the court.
Again, another great pass by Richardson. If I were me on the back line, I would not be wanting to serve her.
Got Acuna on the serve. Harmon again out of the middle. Now picked up 7 kills. Mind you, the last 2 matches that she's played here, she's picked up 8 kills in both of those. Pilots trying to avoid the sweep. They're down 2 sets to none. Great push by Ashub, and a swing from Richardson, alive by Zilbert. Stock on the slide again. Harris kept it alive, but off the pin. You know, when you're up at the net, you try to keep the ball alive with anything, and it looked like she threw an elbow to keep it going. And
chicken wing, something.
Yeah. Ursula Staka back to serve. We're all tied up at 3 in set number 3. Quach out to Helm, and a touch. And that is what has made Nolani Helm so difficult this season for opposing teams, because she's front row swinging, back row setting, but she can really do it all, and that's what she did in high school.
That's really impressive at this level. Most people specialize in something at that point.
Yeah, in her first couple of seasons, they were trying to get her to be strictly a setter, but with her athleticism, you see the swing right there on the back line. That's why they've got her swinging. Another look. Block is late, big seam.
Perfectly placed.
Kinnison receives that serve. A tip from Perry, and it falls on the ground. Again, part of that probably could ask for some help, some communication on that one. It's tough to run across the court. Usually when your setter's back row, they run up to the net, and then it's wherever the pass is going, they got to run over to it.
Yep.
Mumowo sends this one into the scores table, and an ace for the Dons.
You could kind of just chalk that up to a little bit of inexperience, right? I feel like your setter's like your quarterback, right? They're the leader on the court, and so she's just not that confident yet to call for help or make that decision.
Harmon has to tip that one over. Got Acuna. Didn't have a great read on it. Seemed like she was a bit in front of that set.
Maybe jump in a little early, too. Falling as she's trying to hit that ball.
Melissa Murioka back to serve. Just kept floating. Richardson swings down line, kept alive by Murioka. What a dig. And a double called on the Pilots.
You just hate to see that when you have such a phenomenal defensive play right there.
Murioka standing in front of that laser, keeping it alive. Richardson back to serve. Oh, Helm! Charity Bradley checking in, Quatch to the bench, Helm back to serve.
Nice.
Beautifully placed set by Quatch, too, giving her enough space to keep her off the net and get a full swing in. Off the block, looks like it split the two defenders.
And then the defense is setting up for a strong attack, and then it just takes that speed off. It's just hard to change and react to that ball.
The libero, Letizia Aquilino, picks up the ace. And so the Dons picking up the lead here in set number 3. They now lead by 1. They're swinging over 200% better than they normally do. Sweat gets the kill through the block. Sweat picking up her 3rd kill. And it looked like it caught hands on that one. Zilbert serving. Already has 1 ace. Couldn't make it 2, just missing that end line. Kinnison out, Correa in. And Correa back to serve. She hasn't really been doing much setting as the second setter on the team, more back there as another DS.
Yeah.
Shub has been given the go-ahead. This one ends up in the net. And Correa.
Well, when you have a setter as strong as Ashub, you want to keep it in her hands.
And why not? I mean, Ashub last season, and when I say last season, I mean the spring season that they had.
Right.
Well, she was all WCC honorable mention, which is the first time a setter in San Francisco's program history has received a WCC honor. Helm to the middle, to Harmon! They have that connection right now, and if you get that pass, you have to keep feeding her.
You go to your high hitter.
And good recognition, too. Staka popped up right in front of her, couldn't cut across her body, kept it arm side. Deep tip, kept alive. Staka on the slide. And that's so difficult. That slide didn't get to the pin on that one. It's about 3 feet off the pin, so that block wasn't even really set up. They were both there, but it wasn't as flush as you would like. Got Acuna. Overpass. Staka puts it down. Probably the lightest hit we'll see out of her
Right.
in the contest. Don's leading 11-10. Set 3. Pilots trying to avoid the sweep. Great pass. And the swing is long. They call in touch. Pilots want touch. Coach Burton now talking with the down ref. We'll see if they challenge it. And that is a challenge. The swing by Bradley.
You could see the reaction by the Portland team that they were shocked that the officials didn't see a touch. So
I didn't have the best angle on it, so I did not see it off the initial play.
what I noticed is that the team was calling the ball out, but Zilbert still passed that ball, but she passed it on a dime. So I'm like, if you're gonna not listen to your team and take a ball, that would be the one to take.
I mean, that was a terrific pass to set it up. Here's the swing. That's close. Richardson was basically alone. Staka was falling towards that way, but nowhere near the swing.
Saw the little finger go down.
I saw that too,
Yeah.
but I can't determine if that was actual contact or she's...
Right. And sometimes there's just not enough evidence to
Correct.
Richard. Maybe there was a touch, but maybe they heard a touch, but oh.
And they got a touch
got
out
a
of it.
touch.
Coach Burton winning the challenge.
Hopefully that's a little bit of momentum swing that is in favor for the Pilots. See what they do with it.
Good challenge by Coach Burton. Not quite sure what her percentages are on the season, but she's done pretty well inside the Child Center at least.
Yes.
Richardson, tip over the block. Bradley,
Right up.
close. That one's an overpass. Murioka got a fist on it. Bradley can't get to it. Those plays are small backbreakers. As Gabby Quach checks in, Bradley to the bench, and Ursula Staka serving. That one into the net. You know, we talked about the service errors for the Pilots in their past competitions. They're actually doing really well in today's contest. Only 4 service errors, but the problem is they're not getting those aces. They only have 1 so far. Overpass. Oh, terrific block by Ashub. Outside to Richardson. That one finds its way in the court. I don't know if you saw that one, but on the overpass, it looked like Harmon would have had an easy kill, but Ashub, the solo block to save it for the Dons.
Nice.
Those overpasses can be tricky, but Ashub sends it into the net. Second service error in a row for the Dons. Lawson back on the court. Murioka to the bench, or back to serve. Out of the middle. Kept alive by Mumoa. Swing, and I think there was a touch on it. They do call it this time. Sweat will get the kill.
Oh, yeah.
Big time touch on that one. Off the top of the block. That one never made it over the net. And now the Pilots coming back with a lead. They now lead 15-13. And a timeout called by San Francisco. And that'll be our media break. 15-13. Pilots leading San Francisco in set number 3. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Beautiful shot of campus right now at the University of Portland. We welcome you back inside the Child Center. Set 3, the roll shot from Richardson drops. Portland was just on a 3-0 run, but that Richardson kill gets them back within one and stops the run. Shia Richardson, 13 kills now. Leads all players out on the court. And a double called.
Portland's got to figure out how to keep the ball out of Richardson's hands.
Yeah, she's been passing it well. She's been swinging. She's done everything well so far for the Dons.
She's having a game.
Lawson hanging in the air, able to tip it over. Got a Cunha. Nolani Helm on the hard swing, and Lawson finishing with the tip.
Oh.
And they're gonna call over the net. That was tough call right there.
Right.
That one looked like it was over the plane of the net. But they're saying that Lawson reaching over on the Don side. Great pass from Sweat out of the middle. Lawson cleaning it up that time.
Yes. Said, well, then I'll do this instead.
I believe she's thinking in her head, the ball doesn't lie. Right?
Yes.
Past the set inside the 10-foot line. Great swing by Lawson. Back set to Kinnison, tries to go line, out of bounds. She just had a late flick of the wrist as she was trying to go line, and that pushed it out of bounds. So Helm back to serve with a 1-point lead for Portland. Richardson, 2-pass out of the middle. Perry had a good swing. Helm had the first touch. Tip by Sweat. Shub on the dig. Back to Sweat. Down the line. She gets the kill.
There we go. I was saying, though, want to see Emma Sweat heat up a little bit.
It seems to be a bit more energy right now on the Pilot side of the net. It's a timeout call by San Francisco as they trail by 2, 18-16. Got to look right there. Coach Evan Lee talking with Emma Sweat after she just picked up that last kill, but I just mentioned it a moment ago. It seems like a completely different energy right now on the Portland Pilot side of the net.
And volleyball is a game of momentum. Since they switched to rally scoring, points can swing so fast, and so you have to make sure that sometimes having to stop another team's momentum to then pick up your momentum and start to build a couple of points here and there, that's going to make the difference in this match.
Now the Pilots, they need 7 points to push this to set 4. Dons are needing 9.
And if they can just keep on stringing a couple of points at a time, instead of just side out, side out, side out, they can stay in this.
And you know, the tough part for Portland right now is we've talked about errors in the past, and they're doing a pretty good job. Only 10 hitting errors, 4 service errors on the day so far. They just haven't been able to pick up those kills when they have the opportunities. But when they are in the zone, they're passing, it always seems to be going to the middle, and that's where they've been most effective.
Yes.
Harmon has 8 kills. That leads all Pilots. Richardson's pass near the net, saved. Perry with the tip. Sweat, hard swing, kept alive by Murioka. Perry with the hands. Got Acuna. Lawson the tip. Kinnison keeping it alive. Perry with the hands, into the block. Sweat and Lawson. Sequence of plays right there.
Yeah, that was definitely nice. Double block, sealed. Not much that the Dons could do with that.
Taylor Shine coming into the game for her first action. Richardson's pass off the mark, close to the net. Sweat will reset the free ball. Deep tip from Charity Bradley. Back set. Into Shine, into the block and down. Didn't get the best look, but it looked like it caught Lawson on her way down.
Yes. It's one of those, it looked like it was kind of a miss hit by Shine, and then just as she was coming down, it's just not much you can do.
Aquilino back to serve. Sweat down the line, out of bounds. Yeah, I like that aggressiveness from her, though. We've seen her go cross a few times. There she tried to go line. Not a bad idea. That is
so
a close one. Aquilino serving again. Takes it out of bounds, and that'll push that Pilot lead back up to 2. So Dons were within 1.
Again, hopefully they can just string in a couple of more points that add just a little bit more pressure to the Dons. When teams are under pressure, they often play a little tight. That's when the errors start to occur.
Gilbert back to serve. Harris checked into the game. Back set to Shine. The tip over. Murioka got a fist on it, but couldn't get it up. And Shine will now head to the bench. Correa coming out. And Shine has only gotten 2 swings in. Both of them were tips, though, just over the block.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you might see Portland start to not drop so far deep line to cover that.
Dons trailing by 1. Correa. Harris with the pass. They feed it back to her. Too far inside. Overpass. Oh, Jade Harris.
She makes them pay for that one.
Harris picking up her 3rd kill. You could see some frustration brought out on that swing.
The kind you like.
Yeah. Gianna Lawson back to serve. Off the top of the net and back on the Pilot's side. So Don's back within 1 here in set number 3. And right now, they are going to have a new server come in. Interesting, because Katakunya had 4 aces already in today's contest.
Yeah, maybe they're just looking for a little bit more defense in the back row.
Serafina Rivera back to serve, and that's not a bad call with them trailing by 1. They could use that extra defense. Harmon out of the middle. Staka went up alone, and the ricochet falls. Harmon now has a new career high in kills with 9 on the afternoon. 9 kills on 12 attacks. Kinnison from the back row. Harmon again out of the middle! Splitting the block near the 10-foot line.
Kaboom! Oh, yeah.
What a swing by Harmon. And again, tacking onto that career high. She now has 10 kills on 13 swings. As the Pilots leading by 3 here in set number 3. And they're trying to close it out, pick up at least this set, go into set 4 with some momentum. And what would you like to see them do out of this timeout, Carly?
Again, serve tough. And then whatever they send back at them, just better the ball. And if we can keep going, or if they can keep pushing the middle and go back to Harmon, I think that's going to be a recipe for success.
Meanwhile, for the Dons, them trailing by 3, what can they do to try to inch their way back into this one?
See, I feel like they have now gotten a little tight in their serve receive, so it's making it more challenging for their setter to put the ball in the hands of their hitters. So I think both teams have had their woes with serve receive, and whichever team can be cool under pressure during that time will be successful.
Charity Bradley is back to serve. (23-20). Pilots leading here in set 3. And out of bounds. Miscommunication for the Dons. They were calling it in, but it goes out. That's where you're happy when you're wrong.
Yes, or when you don't listen to your teammates.
Staka was going to go back to serve, but now they will bring somebody else in. It'll be number 4, Tanner Pemberton. Sophomore from Wallace, California. Pemberton has 3 aces on the season and had an ace in their loss against Gonzaga. Harmon out of the middle, the tip, they got a pancake, the hand underneath. Richardson roll shot, Morioka diving to keep it alive. Helm sends a free ball over. And Richardson swings far. And they called 4. And a point for the Dons. I'm sort of confused on that call. I didn't think I saw anything that looked like it could have been a double hit.
Yeah.
But
I'm a little confused at this moment.
well, it's 23-22. Timeout called by Portland after a very interesting play. It looked like Portland had the dump by Helm on the second touch for the Pilots on that sequence. Here's a full look at it. See, 1, 2,
3.
That's 3. They had the pancake, that's the second hit. There's the third.
1, 2. And they hit it out.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the call was then. I'm assuming you saw the same thing I did with the up ref.
Yeah, I saw her signal, though, was 4 touches, which, you know, I'm a first grade teacher, and I feel like I'm good at counting.
I can count on my hand.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the Pilots only up by 1 here late in set number 3. And we'll see if that changes the momentum right here.
Right. And did Coach Burton have a challenge? Or?
Still has a challenge left.
There must be something we're not seeing, because it seems like they're not.
They're not arguing with the call.
Yeah.
Pemberton back to serve. Helm chases it down. Back row attack for Harris to touch and a kill. Big time point for the Pilots, and Harris picking up the kill out of the back row.
Again, that was a nice little tip off of the hands of the Don's middle blocker, and their back row can't react to it.
And smart play by Harris. She could have overcommitted when the set was in the air, but she stayed behind it and stayed behind the 10-foot line despite being a front row attacker. And now the scorer at the scores table talking with the down ref. (24-22), Dons trail by 2. Pilots trying to get their first set win. Richardson powers one through. Morioka stays with it. Sweat on the swing. What a cover by Harmon. Harry goes high off the block. Back out to Sweat. Richardson. They feed it back to her. The tip. Helm's out. Sweat the tip. Pushing it through the block. And the Pilots will pick up set number 3, 25-22. So there's still life going as Gianna Lawson shaking her teammate Morioka with a couple of big plays on those
Seriously,
passes.
she kept them alive in that last rally for sure. Picking up tips. Oh.
We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Beautiful look at the campus of the University of Portland. Place you used to call home, right, Carly?
Right. Some of those buildings aren't looking so familiar. I'm dating myself a little bit here, but
Beautiful day out on the bluff as we welcome you back inside the Child Center for set number 4. Pilots are trailing 2-1. The Dons won 25-23 and 25-12 in the first 2 sets, and the Pilots took set 3, 25-22. But you and I were talking at the break. It just seems that there was a bit more life out of the Pilots in that last set.
yes, I feel like they need that energy to just get them to get over that little hump.
Meanwhile, the Dons have played very well. They've got 3 players that are already at their career high in kills. One of them has already broken that, and that's Ursula Staka. Her career high was 10 kills. She currently has 11 kills, and she's swinging at a 667 clip in today's match. 15 total swings and 11 kills, only 1 error going against her.
It's a nice percentage.
And if you hear me talking about those hitting percentages, if you're familiar with baseball, you know, it's like a 300 average is really good, and that's what you're looking for out of your attacks and your hitting percentage. Now, as a team, the Dons are hitting almost 300. They're at 298, so they're having a terrific afternoon up at the net. The Pilots are hitting 262, which is above their average of 158. Back set, Kinnison found the seam. Kinnison got her 3rd kill. Correa checks in to serve. Katakunya and Richardson have both tied their career highs in kills in today's contest so far. The next one will be a new career high. And the ace from Correa. Harmon was looking back at Harris, and it fell right in front of her. And again, that's the top of the net, playing tricks. Correa, the junior from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Great pass from Harris. And the tip, miscommunication between Correa and Katakunya. And Harmon picks up another kill.
I swear, get it in her hands.
That's 11 kills now for Harmon. A new career high for her. It's at her previous career high on Thursday.
And 0 errors.
And yeah, 0 errors out of her on 15 swings. And at serve, just missing that end line. Charity Bradley will now check out. Gabby Quatch checking in. Ivana Katakunya back to serve. Katakunya has 3 aces, almost picked up a 4th right there. Free ball sent over by Helm. Richardson off the block, kept alive by Ashub. Again into the block. Ashub wasting no time, Quatch with the dig. Another dump. Campfire. That's her 4th or 5th dump that's converted in a point for the Dons today.
Oh.
And that time you had 2 Pilots going for it. Katakunya, 3 aces. And a tip from Harmon. Back row attack into the bottom of the net. Pilots trailing by 2, 4-2. Grace Zilbert out of the game. Emma Sweat will check in, and Jade Harris back to serve. Harris is the leader on the court for the Pilots, the junior from Vista Murrieta, California. Another kill for San Francisco.
That slide is kind of her bread and butter.
Again, Staka with another kill. That's 12. Again, a career high for her. Her previous high was 10, set at San Diego during that spring season. Harmon with a deep swing. They got a touch from the line judge. And the up ref not looking over at the judge now. She's going to call him over. Here's a look at the replay for you. Beautiful set by Quatch, though. Behind her to Harmon. And it looked like there could have been a touch out of the middle by Katie Wagstaff. And the line judge on the USF side immediately called the touch, but the up ref making the signal that it was USF point.
Right, almost like she's kind of taking the decision to her own hands, but maybe then
Which she does have the final say.
Exactly.
But she's doing the right thing right now where she called over all of the judges, the referees. Here's a look. That is close.
Hard to tell.
And that's what they're discussing right here. And we'll get a signal from the down ref in just a moment. And nope, they will stay with the Dons. Coach Burton now talking with the down referee. And that's a tough play.
It's hard to swallow as a coach.
And she can challenge it, and she's going to. So this will be her second challenge. Looked like there could have been a finger that bent back right there off the hand of Katie Wagstaff, so they will go to the monitor and look it over. Again, we are only looking at the replay. We don't really have the real answer, so don't take our word as gospel.
Right.
Right now, San Francisco leading 6-2 in set 4.
That is why I am not wearing a blue polo right now. I do not want to have to make that decision.
And it looks like the replay is already done. And they are going to call a tip. And it is Portland point. So Coach Burton, 2 for 2 today.
Yeah.
Picking up where she left off a couple of matches ago.
St. Mary's, wasn't it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Said she needed to go buy a lottery ticket.
Murioka. Close to the net. Ashu pushes it out to Richardson. And she now has a new career high with 15 kills. Freshman's previous career high was 14 that she got against UC San Diego in a 5-set loss earlier in the season. That set not quite high enough for Lawson. She tips it over Kinnison. Not enough mustard on it. Charity Bradley checking in, Quats to the bench. Nolani Helm is now in. Wagstaff, Richardson, and Kinnison swinging. Kinnison with the free ball. Out of the middle, Lawson. The Dons got help from the tape. Kinnison swings, Murioka in the right spot. Sweat, got it off the block.
Again, another great dig by Murioka. She is providing lots of energy and defense for her team right now.
Done a great job in the left back. Spot you're pretty familiar with, huh?
Yes, yes.
Kinnison off the block, went down the net, and point to the Pilots. That was a bang-bang play. And how it rolled down the net, they're saying off the block. And he's out of challenges. Coach Silva's out of challenges. He's 0 for 2. So technically, he can't challenge here.
You can complain all you want.
Right, yeah, you can get in the refs here so they can hear it for the next time around, and that's about as much as you can do. Here's a replay. Off of Charity Bradley's hand, down the line, and you can't see the end line right here. But that's a close play. And changed it, so now it's Dons are serving.
Oh.
Tip by Kinnison, kept alive by Lawson. Wagstaff throws it down. Almost palmed that one. Wagstaff, one of the upperclassmen for San Francisco.
It's kind of a rarity. They're scarce.
A lot of freshmen on the court for both sides. Of course, Wagstaff making her way home. Native of Portland, Oregon, went to Grant High School. They're good. We're not it. So Zobert will check in. Sweat and Mumowo to the bench. Jade Harris checking back in. San Francisco leading 8-6. Ashub, the back set. That ball is up. Such a tricky play up at the net. That tip just over the block. We talked about it in that game against Santa Clara where you're not really supposed to reach back, and it didn't look like Lawson did. I think she just caught that with her elbow.
Yeah, like it was just a miss hit. But Marioka was there.
She was there to cover. She actually got it with her foot. Harris into the block. And I believe they're going to call a lift on that one. Yep, on Kinnison. Harris got her 5th kill. Now tied with Helm and Bradley on the afternoon. Pilots trailing by 2. Staka, smart play, just the tip out of the middle. Zilbert, the scrappiness. Can't get it into the court of play.
There again, where the set was just a little too low for her to get a full swing on it, so she just bettered the ball.
Scrappiness from the Pilots doesn't pay off. 10-7 now for San Francisco. Bradley strong and too far. 11-7. Bruna Correa back to serve again. Correa has got 2 aces. Harris gets blocked by Staka and Ashub. That's only the 3rd block for the Dons in today's contest. And a timeout called by Coach Burton. It's her team trailing 12-7 here in set number 4. So 12-7 here in set number 4. 5 points separating these two teams. The Pilots, they had the energy in set 3. It seems to have backtracked a bit here in set number 4, and the Dons are grabbing the momentum right now.
Yeah, they're still passing a little bit better in serve receive, and they just have the momentum. They're capitalizing on a few little errors that the Portland team is making, but they're still in it. This could still be a very close match.
And don't forget, they're still playing to 25 here in set number 4, so plenty of match left. And that's the swing from Harris, the block from Staka and Ashub.
They can push those service passes up just a little bit closer to the net. Helm can do a lot with it, but when it's behind the 10-foot line, it's just, and where she's having to run a lot to get to the ball, it just makes her job a lot harder.
That's when you start to realize the fatigue factor starts to play in. She doesn't get as much push on it out to the pin. Correa serving out of the timeout. Harmon swings, got it down. 13 kills now for Chelsea Harmon out of the middle. She does a great job of not overplaying it. The set was close to her, compact, but still able to get the kill. 50 for the Dons, only 38 so far for the Pilots. Stock on the slide, the tip, that counts.
Those are so tough.
You can't do anything about that.
Yes.
Murioka was even coming up to try to get the tip and still came up late.
Well, in a slide situation, they have the perfect, what am I saying? They have the perfect way to hit that down line, so it's hard as a left back whether you creep up and protect that tip. And she hit it pretty well. She didn't show it being a tip till like the last minute.
That one ends up in the net. Dons pick up another point. They lead 14-8. Got Acuna back to serve. 6 kills and 4 aces. Tip, kept alive. Aquilino got her hand underneath that one. Watch the middle, Harmon somehow got it over the net. I didn't think it broke the plane.
Right, it didn't look like it was above the net.
So the terrific afternoon continues for Chelsea Harmon.
It's like a one-handed set right over the net.
Harris's serve lands on the sideline, and that's an ace. Only the second ace in today's contest for the Pilots. Zilbert picked up the other one way back in the first set. Out to Richardson, dug up by Jade Harris. Sends a free ball over. Aquilino, the dump from Ashub. She has found the weak spot. And the other thing is she hasn't gotten dump heavy, where she's just doing that every single opportunity. And that is what has made her effective, is going all 3 spots with the set, so then she dumps it. Sweat, cross court, and that one's in. Point for the Pilots. Lawson checking in, Harmon to the bench, Murioka back to serve. Into the block, covered by Richardson. You don't see that very often. Roll shot, Helm out of the play. Sweat down line. Deep tip, Mumolo got a hand on it, still popped up. Lawson sends it over, it's deep. Aquilino kept it in. Murioka, it's tight. And Katie Wagstaff ends the rally with a swipe on the overpass. What a couple of digs on both sides.
Seriously.
Mumolo on the dive right there. And Aquilino kept it in right there. Free ball. Going to the middle. Wagstaff. Back right. Or back left, I should say. And Charity Bradley will check in. Gabby Quatch to the bench, which means Nolani Helm now the setter. Sweat and Lawson in the front row. And out of bounds, Mumolo with the good eye. Same with Charity Bradley. Pilots trail by 5, 17-12. Good float from Helm. Richardson near the net, and the block from Lawson and Sweat.
That's huge. If they can get Richardson to second guess herself a little bit, that's going to make a big difference.
7 blocks now for the Pilots.
They aren't even ready to cover that block.
Shoot got enough on it to pop it up. Lawson the tip. Kinnison dug it out. Back to Richardson. And put back down by Lawson and Sweat. If that was Gianna Lawson, her hang time is unbelievable.
It's crazy.
17-14, timeout called here in set number 4. The Pilots trying to force a set 5. Here's another look. Back set to Richardson. And yeah, Lawson didn't quite close it out, but that left hand.
It said, no soup for you.
Exactly, right back into the court. Lawson now has 3 blocks on the afternoon. Harmon's got 4. Emma Sweat now has 3. But 8 blocks for the Pilots in today's contest. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Pilots. Next week, a couple of home matches. They take on Loyola Marymount and Pepperdine, 2 teams. One of them's ranked in the top 25. LMU probably could be in the top 25 as well. They're playing terrific volleyball down there. And then they go on the road in the back half of October. They're going down to St. Mary's and then at Pacific as well at the end of October. St. Mary's is one that I really think the Pilots could pick up a win there as well. Pacific is a tough matchup. Now, Pacific just took 5 from Pepperdine a few days ago, and Pepperdine 23rd in the nation.
Everybody's got an off match, though. Right?
Exactly. Helm serving out of the timeout. Back set to Richardson. She goes deep, out of bounds. And I think it's starting to play out just as you said. She might be doubting herself a little.
Because before, everything she touched was gold, and now it's starting to get a little tight. She's pressing a little bit to try to get those kills.
Out to Kinnison. That one's long. Could we see the wheels starting to fall off for the Dons? It felt like they were in control for most of this set. Kinnison out, Taylor Shine now in. Shine, a freshman from Palm Desert, California. High for Richardson. And no touch again.
Again, I think like she was looking for hitting off high hands, but didn't quite make contact.
It's the 3rd hitting error in a row for Richardson. And Sophie Sydenham checks into the game for Richardson. Sydenham, a junior from Scottsdale, Arizona. Aquilino on the serve receive. Shine high off the block. Helm the back set. Bradley the poke, deep corner. Lawson out of the middle. Touch and kill. The Pilots right now are on a 7-0 run. They have come roaring back.
When the ball is in front of Lawson, she does so much with it. It's so great. Just every time, once in a while, I see the set might not quite be there and she's having to take a little off of it, but when it's in front of her, Dons don't have much to answer.
Staka ahead to the bench. Serafina Rivera in the back row. Aquilino on the receiving end. Shine into the block, kept alive, covered by the Dons. Free ball. Middle, Lawson, they got a touch.
Oh, you heard it.
They will. Yeah, we heard that
we
one.
heard
That's how I knew it that time.
Yes.
And the down referee calling the touch as well. 19-17. Pilots with a 2-point lead.
You can also see that Ashub is having to run a lot more in serve receive.
Sydenham. Her first swing in the afternoon results in a kill. Rivera out, Lana Katacunya in. Sydenham back to serve. Lawson. Deep swing from Shine. Too much on it. So 2-point lead. Mumolo and Sweat out. Zilbert into the game. I believe Charity Bradley also entered. Zilbert back to serve. Pilots trailed 2-0. They're trying to get their second set. Wagstaff, the tip. Harris kept it alive. Zilbert punching it up, and a free ball over. That's tight up at the net. And they're gonna call over on Lawson. And that's a tricky one. It looked like she went up more to block than necessarily get a swing.
Oh, but where they contact the ball, if it's at, the setter has a right to be able to set her ball on her side. So if they impede that in any way by reaching over the net, and that's what the call was.
No challenge from Coach Burton. She is 2 for 2 on the day. Back set to Charity Bradley. Found a seam, but long. Point for the Dons. And it looks like Coach Burton has her challenge card up, and she's going to challenge a touch. Now, she's 2 for 2. That's why she still has her challenges here in set 4. And she wants to see if there was a touch on the swing by Charity Bradley.
But even if she doesn't get this challenge correct, I still feel like it's a smart choice because it's kind of stopping the momentum of the Dons right now, making maybe their server think about that serve a little bit longer.
You have to give props to the Pilots. Really, things did not go their way in those first couple of sets, especially in set number 2, where the score was 25-12. But then they came back, they won 25-22, and right now it's 20-20 here in set 4. So they're staying with it. They did not get discouraged. Here's a look closer to our angle. I couldn't make heads or tails of that swing.
Me neither. Again, that's kind of tough where, there must not have been enough evidence there for there to be a touch. But hopefully this is enough time for Dawn's server to be thinking about that serve that might throw her off her game a little bit.
Coach Burton still wanting an explanation. And I think she thinks that the ball went off more of the wrist forearm area than necessarily the hands.
Got it.
At least that's what I'm inferring on what her
from a blocker or from a shoe going for that dig?
I thought it was from the blocker.
Okay.
Aquilino on the serve. Back out to Jade Harris.
There we go.
She got a hold of that one. Kill number 6 for her.
That looked like more of her groove.
And the block wasn't there. Stocka was late. Gianna Lawson back to serve with a 1-point lead. Ace!
Good timing for that.
Got Acuna. Couldn't get a good pass off of it. That's the 4th ace on the season for Lawson. Only the 3rd ace on the day for the Pilots. And another! San Francisco looks deflated right now.
For sure.
Everybody's looking down on that side of the net after back-to-back aces and just the kiss off the top of the net and the ace.
Just enough rotation to have that just roll Pilot's way over the net.
23-20, Portland leading here in set number 4. If they win this, they go to set number 5. That's the best of 15. And we've seen that a couple of times the last few trips inside the Child Center against St. Mary's a few weeks ago, then against Santa Clara just on Thursday.
They're definitely giving the crowd their money's worth.
Absolutely. So what do you think Coach Burton's talking to her team about right now? You're up by 3. You can't really be giving up this lead.
Right. I think communication is going to be a big part, and celebrating all of those points. It helps just that little bit to create that momentum so that the Dons are, again, kind of in their heads a little bit and getting a little tight and hopefully not playing at their best.
Well, the Dons, everybody was looking down after that last ace. Not many smiles on the court. Meanwhile, Portland, when things were down, you still saw that energy up for them. And you have to wonder if you're San Francisco, it's, oh no, it's happening again. I mean,
we're so close. And
it's just slipping out of your grasp. Remember, they're 0-15 on the season, only 6 sets won all year coming into today. Lawson's serve, set to the middle, Staka, tip. Back to Harmon out of the middle, her tip can't fall, up by a Ashub. No touch, and the long swing from Katakunya. So the Pilots 1 point away from forcing set 5 now. Kinnison checking in, Shine to the bench.
There's definitely been a switch where now Portland's keeping the ball in play and allowing the Dons to create the errors.
Gianna Lawson back to serve. Sydenham on the pass. Staka out of the middle, and that one over the head of Helm, finding its way into the corner.
But all the Portland Pilots need is just get a good 2-point pass here and try to feed it into Harmon's hands.
Bruna Correa serving for San Francisco. Back out to Harris, off the block, kept alive by Aquilino. And a double called on the Dons.
You could see that coming. It was so tight to the net and out of her reach. That's a tough play, but the Pilots will gladly take that.
And Pilots trying to complete the reverse sweep now. They're back in at 2 sets apiece after winning 25-21. We'll be right back with set number 5 on the other side. You know, I really don't think it gets any better than on the Bluff. Oh, what a beautiful day out.
Seriously.
There's a look at the campus of the University of Portland. And look at the water in the background as we open up set number 5 inside the Chiles Center. The Pilots trying to complete the reverse sweep, something that happened to them on Thursday. Now they're trying to get back in on the action against the Dons. The Dons took the first 2 sets, 25-23 and 25-12. And then the Pilots have come back, winning the next 2, 25-22 and 25-21. And it really, after that second set, even though the Pilots are down 2 sets to none, they still had that energy up and that belief in themselves, and you see it correlating in those last 2 set wins.
And you could see in this, just that last match, you could see that deflatedness from the Dons. And hopefully that's going to be a factor for a Portland win.
Now, remember, this is set 5, so each coach gets another challenge.
Which the Dons coach was out of challenges, and he was wanting to question a couple of those calls, so I'm sure he's happy to get one of those back.
Exactly. Diogo Silva was out of challenges in set 4, had a play that he thought he might want to challenge, didn't have the opportunity, but now with set 5, both coaches get an extra challenge, and teams are playing to 15.
Yes, so they have to get going right away.
Correa's serving to start set 5. Helm to Harris. High off the block, and they get the kill.
And again, a nice serve-receive pass by Marioka.
She's done a really good job. She filled in as the libero after set 2, and she's been doing a really good job.
She's making her presence known.
Gianna Lawson back to serve. She had 2 big aces in set 4. Oh, she got the up, but no touch from the Pilots, and that's a kill.
Almost.
From Katakunya. That's her 7th kill, and she now officially has a new career high. Previous high was 6 against Pepperdine earlier in the season. Perry on the serve. Harmon out of the middle, tipped by Ashub and Staka, and that one falls. Gilbert just laying all out to get that ball up.
Full extension.
And it pays off with a point for the Pilots. Harmon picking up her 15th kill. And you want to know how effective she is. She's almost doubled her career high in today's contest. Harris high off the block. Helm will have the first touch. Charity Bradley, another high hit off the block. Harris, the dump from Helm found its way on the ground.
That's nice to give her a little taste of her own medicine.
That's Helm's first dump. Ashub has gotten the best of the Pilots about 4 or 5 different times in today's contest, but that time, Nolani Helm comes up with it. Richardson, that one finds its way in the court, back left corner. Watch came in, Bradley to the bench, Ursula Staka back to serve. Harmon almost picked up another kill. Murioka laying out, what a dig. And Helm with the kill. Great all-around volleyball right there on the Pilots' side of the net.
It's a great series for the Pilots. Good dig.
I mean, that pass, I know it wasn't a 3, but that was a darn good 2-ball in front of the 10-foot line. Easy set for the Pilots. Miscommunication. Ashub and Aquilino mixed up, and this will be our media timeout. 5-2, Pilots leading here in set number 5. We'll be right back with some more WCC volleyball action on the other side. Set 5 inside the Child Center. Brian Slyke, Carly Dumanin with your call. There's an overpass. And Harmon picking up her 16th kill on the overpass.
That's awesome. That's the kind of play you want after a timeout to set the tone for the rest of this match.
You saw the kill score bug drop down there for a second. 59 for the Dons, 49 now for the Pilots. The Pilots on a 3-0 run. Serafina Rivera checking in, and the serve went right to her. Richardson able to get a free ball over. That set just behind Helm, but the wherewithal to stay behind it. And the block on the far side, Emma Sweat and Chelsea Harmon.
You can see the noise that is happening over on the Portland side and how quiet it is on the Don side right now.
Sweat has a new career high in blocks. She's got 4 now. She set a previous career high against St. Mary's. Helm, smart tip, coming in hot up at the net. Emma Sweat using the block, hits the tool off the pin. Sophie Sydenham checking in now for the Dons. Richardson to the bench. And normally this is where you would take that break at the 8-point mark.
And switch sides.
But with COVID, team staying on the same side, no switch happening. Pilots leading 8-2. Harris looked like a gator to get that one up. The dump. Murioka not fooled this time. To the outside, Sydenham. Just to the right of Jade Harris.
You know, when you talk about not switching sides, it almost makes this last game even faster and the momentum even more important.
Harris to the bench, Mumowo out on the court. Eileen Ashub.
That's tough. Again,
I was thinking Chelsea.
I feel like that when you're down like that and you miss that serve, it's just another shoot in the foot.
Ashub, that's a tight set. Sydenham couldn't go anywhere with it. The tip right into the block of Helm and Lawson. San Francisco calling their second timeout here in set number 5, and it's a 7-point lead right now for the Pilots. They lead 10-3, and right now they are in the driver's seat, ready to complete the reverse sweep.
Which is exciting, and I think would be so rewarding after their, heartbreaking defeat with a reverse of their sweep. So I'm just hoping to see that happen this time, but I'm gonna try not to jinx it. But right now they do. They have the momentum, and the Dons are really in their heads right now. And I think Portland just has to keep up that energy, keep serving at them tough, and be smart about where they're hitting.
Pilots right now, they're on a 6-1 run over the last few minutes. And another look at that block. Helm, that extra second to reach right there to get that block on Sydenham.
She's doing a great job outside right now.
So Alyssa Murioka.
Who's been kind of like the little fire that Portland needed.
Came in as the libero in set 3 through 5 right now. She was de-essing in the first 2 sets. Serve over out of the timeout. Wagstaff solo blocked by Gianna Lawson. Lawson now has a new career high in blocks. She's got 5. Her previous career high was 4, set against St. Mary's in the spring season. Emma Sweat got that one to go down. I was a bit worried. I thought she was going to push that one out of bounds.
Right?
And the Dons, really no communication or wherewithal to try to get that ball after, I believe it was Kinnison who got the touch. Rivera on the pass. Tight set for Sydenham. Murioka covered down the line. Lawson out of the middle. Aquilino had the first touch. And Coach Silva already had his challenge card up. He wants a net violation.
Yeah, before they even stopped the play, he was out there with the green.
Already had his card out. It's a 5-0 run right now, if it stays this way. Now remember, they're looking to see if there was a Pilot player in the net. And the net doesn't
move.
It's moving on the back end.
Oh, okay,
But on the block, I didn't see anybody go up and make contact with the net.
Yeah.
If it is there, it has to be the slightest touch.
Right.
On the net. I didn't see anything that would give it away right there.
I'm thinking he's thinking that Helm, like on that last little ditch effort to press over, might have contacted it. But again, you saw the net move. I didn't see the net move, but I might have a little bit of bias.
But again, it was. I mean, we were looking for it up at the block.
Right.
I mean, that's normally where you have it, and they do. They called it on Nolani Helm. And you know what? She's all smiles. I feel like she sort of knew it after that, after they called it on her.
They're like, all right, you got me. Hey, let's side out for a point.
And, you know, I was looking at the top of the net. She might have hit some of the netting on the way down or maybe the bottom of the tape. As Sophie Sydenham back to serve. Juana Catacuña out in the front row now. 12-4. An 8-point lead for the Pilots. Mumowo. Helm the swing off the block. Staka stayed with, or Ashub stayed with it. And the block from Sweat and Lawson. Just continue that total, ladies. Another look, Sweat with a good push over there near the pin.
I think every time I watch her, I just can't help from smiling.
Sweat has been a big contributor for the Pilots in their last few home matches. Murioka chests that one. Out of the middle, Perry gets the kill. Been really impressed with Murioka in the back row and her ability to literally just wear the ball and still popping it up. It doesn't matter. She has that ability to get that ball up.
Yeah, she's all over the court, picking up tips, setting up. You know, she's had a couple of great bump sets when the setter was out to set up her hitters. She's made a big difference in this match.
Letizia Aquilino back to serve. Looks like Sweat, Bradley, and Lawson swinging. Middle to Lawson, covered by the Pilots. Ashud, the bump set, over, and that one landed on the Pilots' side. That'll be a kill for Catacuña.
Well, the Dons have a tall order to try to come back in this match. They've got to keep that ball. Portland just has a side out and get one more point.
13-6. Fifth set goes to 15. Good pass set to the outside to Bradley, into the block. And Lawson tried to cover. That was a tight play for Bradley. She was so close to the net on the swing. It really didn't give her a lot of options. Especially when somebody's already pushing that block over. There's not much you can do. Pass up at the net, pushed. I liked the idea for Helm, but almost doing too much, pushing it to the outside.
With that ball being just a little tight to the net.
And with that, Coach Burton will call a timeout to stop this mini run, a 3-0 run for San Francisco right now. It's 13-8. Again, the Pilots just need 2 points to get to 15, but the Dons are not making it easy. It's been a tough match all game, really.
Yeah, I would say that I always try to look at it when I was playing is just, I just have to side out for this point and take it each point one at a time. Just like those mini games. And so all they have to do here is get a good pass, feed one of their hitters, side out for that point, and then just put all the pressure back on them for their next for that hopefully winning serve.
30 seconds left in the timeout, but the Pilots not really feeling any pressure on them right now, and nor should they with the position that they're in.
It's a great place to be when you're feeling confident right at the end of game 5.
And looking at San Francisco again, just how they're wearing it on their bodies, their face, compared to Portland out of the timeout. Pilots seemed a bit more energetic, upbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Letizia Aquilino. Back to serve. Pilots trying to pick up their second conference win. The Dons is trying to pick up their first win of the season. Deep roll shot from Charity Bradley. Kinnison, the tip over. Murioka ready for it. Wasson out of the middle, and Aquilino sends it past the end line, and the Pilots are within 1.
That was a great read by Murioka, coming in and seeing that tip and just being there to do a nice, great pass up to her setter.
You know, earlier in this match, that's something where we probably would have seen Murioka come in late on that one to try to cover it, but she's seen it a few times now and on top of it. Zilbert serves. And out of bounds, and the kill for Catacuña. Bruna Correa in to serve. Correa with 2 aces so far for match point. Jade Harris through the block. Aquilino can't make it, and the Pilots have completed the reverse sweep. They were down 2-0, and they come back and win sets 3, 4, and 5, and they're going to lead the Child Center with a victory this afternoon. What a match between these two. You see Gianna Lawson, she is just absolutely fired up, as she should be, and the rest of the team. And Carly, what were your thoughts on today's match as a whole?
It was entertaining, for sure. There was definitely momentum swings where both teams struggled with their passing or struggled with, honestly, hitting errors was a big issue. But in the end, I think that Portland just held on and kept their spirits either even or high at all points to where they never got down on themselves. And that could be enough to take this win.
Yeah, you're talking about some of the errors that we've seen in the past. I mean, only 7 service errors in today's game, only 15 attacking errors. That's something that those hires have been up the last few matches, and they've done a great job now. And now I think we have Chelsea Harmon ready to go as our player of the match after a terrific performance. Chelsea, you had 16 kills. What was your thought on today's match as a whole? What were you feeling out there?
I couldn't really honestly do this without any of my passers and my setters, so I think they were just diming some balls for me. My setters were locating really well, and I was one-on-one, so I had a lot of courts to just kind of play with.
Yeah, you did a great job. I mean, we were saying the whole time you were the hitter to set, and it does. You made a great point that they can't feed you the ball without a great passing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think was made the difference between match 3 and then the match 4?
We talked a lot about minimizing our errors, so just kind of taking an opportunity to let the other team play and make mistakes, and ripping on balls that we thought were really a good opportunity to rip on. So kind of just managing those balls and not making as many errors as the other 2 sets. Well,
I thought you did a fantastic job. I just love watching you at the net when you go up and get a solid block. Just seeing your enthusiasm as you bring it back to your team, it's just really fun to watch.
Thank you so much.
Chelsea, before we let you go, Thursday was a tough match. The reverse sweep on you guys today, a bit different. You guys are on the winning end of it. How does that feel for you?
It feels amazing to turn it around and, come back out here. And we worked really hard in practice yesterday on the things we needed to improve on, and I thought we really came out here and executed.
All right, thank you, Chelsea, for your time, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
That was Chelsea Harmon. I'm Brian Slack. This was Carly Dumont. And so, Carly, let's get a last quick thoughts before we let these people go.
Well, I just think that the Pilots have worked really, really hard, and I am just so glad that they were able to get the reverse sweep because it was such a heartbreaking loss on Thursday. So it was wonderful to see them finally have all their hard work pay off.
Well, the Pilots will be back in action next Thursday, 6 p.m. And we'll catch you then on the WCC Network.